Pow, welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. My name is Dan W. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. Today, as you can see, we have the Defenders box set, Marvel Legends exclusive. I believe it is going to be an Amazon exclusive, but for some unknown reason, I've got it early thanks to Kapow Toys. So for all of the people messaging me, asking me how and where I've got this from, I've got it from Kapow Toys here in the UK. So that's where you can get it. I believe they do international shipping. So wherever you are watching this, I'm sure they can sort you out. So yeah, no sponsors, but that's where I got it. And it looks really, really good. Looks really good in hand. So much better in person than the pictures online. It looks like a comic book. The Defenders in all of their classic comic book costumes. This is obviously the modern day version of the Defenders. It's not the original lineup, but I'll save that for another day. But I thought before I open up and review the figures, let's show the artwork, as this artwork is very impressive on the packaging compared to normal Legends. So yeah, here it is in the front. We go on the side, you got the logos that we usually see on the top of the Marvel Legends boxes: Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage and Iron Fist. We'd never seen that one before, but the rest we had seen on individual package figures. On the back is the promo image that we've been seeing. I think this was shown off at San Diego Comic-Con. To be honest, I think the whole box was shown off at San Diego, but that was the picture that's been going around. And then more logos on the side. We get the Defenders embossed. I think that's the effect, what the effect's called. The embossed Defenders logo at the top, where you can feel the texture. But yeah, my screen isn't very big, so it's hard to show off the whole packaging. Nothing much at the bottom, but yeah, really good. So let's open it up. It's got a bit of Velcro on the side, opens up like a book, and yeah, there the figures inside. So let me see if I can move that a little bit. So again, I apologise, my screen isn't big enough to show off the whole case, but it's got all four figures on the side there: Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Iron Fist. Obviously, we've had these two before, but with a different paint deco. I think we've had Luke Cage before in another San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. I believe it was the Thunderbolts exclusive. So I don't have that one to compare with, but I'm very happy to have a Luke Cage figure at last. Then we have Jessica Jones, aka Jewel. This is a comic book Jewel costume. I doubt we're ever going to get that in the Netflix series, but they do show a little Easter egg in the first season of her holding that outfit when she's talking with Patsy in the actual show. And then here we have a little read up. It looks like there's a lot of read up, but to be honest, it's just 4 different languages. So all you're getting is a tiny little paragraph, just like you would at the back of a Marvel Legends box. But yeah, Defenders, then all 4 characters and their actual names: Matt Murdock, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage and Danny Rand. And yeah, as I said, a little read up, which I'll let you read when you get the box yourself. But as you can see, a little bit of Velcro there, so you can close the box. And it's really good packaging. I'm not usually one to show off packaging on the shelf or anything like that. I usually rip the box open, take the figures out. But yeah, this packaging's worth keeping. Looks pretty good. So without further ado, let's open up the box and show off the figures inside. So first up, let's look at Daredevil straight out of the Defenders box set. And yeah, I'm a massive Daredevil fan, so I'm going to like this figure regardless. But if you want to talk about what's the difference between this one and the Ultimate Hobgoblin Wave Daredevil, is the paintwork. That's the only difference. Other than that, it's the same mold, reused Bucky Cap mold that we have seen over and over again. But this one, I think, has got a little bit more attention to detail, maybe a little bit more accurate from the early stages of the comic. So it's basically just different paintwork, but other than that, it's the same figure. A little bit more attention in the eyes, a bit of darkness around the eyes. The billy clubs are not plain white. They're silver, got this little bit of silver on the end, and they're red. But these go into the compartment there on his leg, nice and simple. And yeah, it's not really much to talk about, people. It is the same Daredevil as before with just different paintwork. So I can zoom in and show you the paint difference, and then I will do some comparisons with the previous Daredevil. Here's a closer look at the Daredevil. As you can see, a little bit more attention to detail as in regards to the darkness around the eyes and then that dark wash on those horns. Those horns are obviously sculpted onto the figure, but yeah, I do think they've paid a little bit more attention to the details. I do think the DD on the chest is a lot clearer and crisper compared to the other one. I do think the shade of red is a little bit lighter and better. The billy clubs have got more detail on, even if it is just a little bit of silver and red, but still it was better than the plain white ones. And then obviously the gloves, boots and harness and the belt are all just that darker maroonish red. And here he is compared to the previous Daredevil from the Ultimate Hobgoblin wave. As you can see, they are the same figure, just with different paintwork. So I don't think either or is better. It is down to personal preference and which paint scheme you prefer. But the DD, as you can see, is a lot clearer on this one than it is compared on that one. And then there's no details around the eyes, again, compared to that one. So I'm leaning towards this way, but again, it's just down to personal preference. Other than that, same mold, same bits of plastic put together. It's just different paint. Here he is compared to my kit bashed Matt Murdock or Scott Summers, depending on how you look at it. But it is basically the chameleon body with the unmasked Matt Murdock head that come with the first appearance Daredevil, that all yellow suit that was a Walgreens exclusive, I believe. Wasn't a fan of that figure, so I sold that, but kept the unmasked head so I could make this little custom. And you can put that head on this figure, not a problem if you were interested. Do you want to see it? Let's show you, because people will probably ask to see it. So here you go. Matt Murdock, unmasked head on this new figure. Looks all right. And here he is compared to the MCU/Netflix Daredevil. And don't be in the comments saying it's not MCU. The Netflix universe is part of the MCU. It's official, it's canon. Maybe Defenders 4. Who knows? But anyway, here they are compared to each other, and I do think it's a very good comic representation of this character. And then I do like this figure as well, of course I do. So anyway, let's move on to Iron Fist. Moving on to Iron Fist, again, this is just another straight repaint from the previous Iron Fist, with a few differences in regards to the body, which I'll show you in a minute. But it comes with the same accessories that we've got many times before. Obviously, we got these with the last Iron Fist as well. Is it just the flame effects that fit onto the wrist? It is the same Iron Fist with a different shade of green. He doesn't have the top, obviously. A lot of people have been making custom versions of this Iron Fist anyway, so now Hasbro have done the hard work for you, where he's just got his chest off, and then he's got this tattoo. I think it's not a tattoo, but it's a sort of the dragon scar or whatever it officially is in canon. I'm sure someone can tell me in the comments. But nevertheless, this is the Iron Fist symbol on the chest. Now, the difference as I was talking about is, in the previous Iron Fist, you could pop this figure off at the wrist and then put the flame on effects on, as I've got here. So this is what we got with the previous Iron Fist, flames, and then we got this flamed up hand where you could pop off the wrists and put them on. So on this Iron Fist, you can't do that. Or maybe you can. I'm learning as I talk to you. So you can pop off the wrists and put on these, unless I've just broke the figure. So it took a bit of force to get them out, actually. So let's try and put these in. All right, I'm doing this live, so we're learning together. There we go, it's in. Okay, so it's in. So you can use, ignore everything that I said a minute ago. You can use the fists if you wanted to from the previous Iron Fist. I don't know if you were meant to, but they did pop off okay, to be fair. So maybe you are, maybe you're not, but I've just done it. You can put the previous wrist effects from the other Iron Fist, from the Build-A-Figure Dormammu wave, on this figure. So I'm guessing you can't use the interchangeable hands, the skin hands that you got from the All-Father wave. I don't know. I do not have the All-Father all white Iron Fists that come with all those interchangeable hands, so I can't show you, but you can use the interchangeable hand that come with the previous green Iron Fist. And then obviously the effects, I think, are a different shade of yellow, but you can hardly tell. But yeah, let's put that wrist back on, make sure I haven't broke it, and then compare him to the previous Iron Fist. So here he is compared to the Iron Fist I was talking about. This one is from the Build-A-Figure Dormammu wave from the Doctor Strange movie, which come with these sort of Iron Fist effects for the wrists. So we figured out we can use them, as I've popped his wrist back on, no problem. So yeah, you can use those interchangeable hands. As you can see here, it's the same figure, so same articulation with these butterfly joints, just different paintwork. The yellow is a tiny bit different. The green is definitely a bit different. This one's more comic accurate, I would say. This one's a bit darker green. But yeah, nevertheless, that's the figure. It's the same figure, same head. Again, the paintwork might be a little bit different, but the sculpting is definitely the same. But yeah, a lot of people prefer this look for Iron Fist. So if you did, now you can get this guy. Moving on to Luke Cage, Power Man himself. Probably my most sought after figure from this box set, as I didn't have a Luke Cage in my collection and he was going for a pretty penny on the aftermarket. As Hasbro have already given us a Luke Cage before in the 2014 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Thunderbolts box set. I did want that box set because it had Ghost in it as well, and the Ghost is going to appear in the new Ant-Man and the Wasps film, so I did want to get that box set, but it's pretty expensive these days. But I'm happy to now have a Luke Cage in my collection. Pretty imposing figure compared to the other figures in this wave. He stands at about, well, just under 7 inches, which again, compared to the standard Bookie Cap mold figures, is a lot taller. The mold as well, again, don't quote me on what figure, but I'm guessing maybe Hyperion, just because of the double peg holes. But nevertheless, it's a good comic accurate representation of Luke Cage, so I'm happy to now have him in my collection. The one thing I am disappointed about is maybe the paint apps. Maybe it's just my figure, but he's got a bit of smudging on the back there, as you can see the black on the yellow. I don't know how well that's showing up on camera, but it's definitely there. And then also, instead of the t-shirt being sculpted, it's just sort of painted yellow. And you can start to see the yellow underneath his skin tone as well. So I wish they maybe have done the arms in the plastic skin tone and then painted yellow on top rather than the other way around. I'm sure you collectors out there know what I'm talking about. It's just you can see the yellow near the joints underneath his skin tone, which looks a little bit sloppy. Again, I've got a bit of red there as well. So again, I'm not complaining about the figure. I do think it's a very accurate representation of Power Man from the comics. I just wish the paint work was a little bit better. As you can see, the yellow is clearly there at the joints as well. So yeah, apart from the paint apps, which can be fixed, I suppose, but I'm not the great at customizing, I am glad I've got a Luke Cage for my collection. Nice goatee there, solid face sculpt, and I do think this is the same figure from that Thunderbolts box set. I don't have it, so I can't do a comparison. So someone out there that does have that Luke Cage, let me know if you can spot any differences. But from what I can see, it's the same figure. And yeah, I'm happy to have Luke Cage. Moving on. Last and certainly not least, it is Jessica Jones, aka Jewel. Now this is the first time we've had this costume in Marvel Legends form, as it is very comic accurate to when she was in the Avengers and whatnot. I'm not too sure in the comics, but I think in the Alias comics she just told this story in flashbacks. I'm not too sure if there are other storylines where she is just seen in this form, but I'm sure you comic historians out there can tell me. But nevertheless, this is Jessica Jones in her Jewel outfit when she was trying to be a superhero. They do show it off, the costume at least, as a little Easter egg in the Jessica Jones TV show. But again, it was just a nod and a wink to the audience that knew her origins, rather than them actually wearing it. You will not see Kristen Ritter wearing this costume in the Jessica Jones TV show, I can guarantee you that. But probably not a great way to show it off, as it is the white background and it is a solid white sort of costume with the tiny little purple jewel there with the purple hair. But yeah, it's not a new mold or anything like that. It's all molds that we've seen before in figure form. The head as well, unfortunately, looks like just a repaint of the Silk figure. So if I bring the Silk figure in here, you can see that the hair sculpt is exactly the same. So it looks like different paintwork. Standing side by side, the paint apps are different enough to look like a different figure, but the hair sculpt is exactly the same, and it's sort of, yeah, it's sort of obvious that it's the same head sculpt just with a different paintwork. But still, if you have them distance on the shelf, then you'll never know. They just look like two female figures. But yeah, it's nothing new. So articulation, no double jointed elbows, as I don't think Hasbro will ever give us double jointed elbows on a female. But nevertheless, regardless of that, it is just standard female Marvel Legends articulation. Let's compare her to Jessica Jones. Now, this is Kristen Ritter from the TV show. So as you can see, very different representations of the Jessica Jones character. I love the Jessica Jones Netflix show. It is second in line to Daredevil for me. I look forward to season 2 as well, which we should hopefully get in the first quarter of 2018. But yeah, Jessica Jones, meet Jessica Jones. Pow! So there we have it, people. The Defenders box set. My final thoughts are, it's a very good box set. If you're a fan of these characters, especially in their comic book forms, then definitely get this box set. It's reasonable priced, and it's nice to buy a box set that has a complete team in it rather than waiting months and years for different waves to come out. We can have a solid team in one box so you can pose them on the shelf. I'm very happy I got some of those articulated icon ninjas as well, so I can build a street diorama and have these guys fight in the hand. So I look forward to doing that. But thank you for watching the review / breakdown of these figures. If you do have any more questions or any more comparisons you would like me to do, then hit me up on Instagram, it's Dan Who, or let me know in the comments and I will always get back to you. So yeah, hope you have enjoyed, people. My name has been Dan W. Hit that subscribe, hit that like button, and I shall see you on the next one.